YouTube or Spotify. No, we were supposed to start at 7. Had some technical difficulties. I was being stretched or challenged to not quit, not to give up on myself, not to give up, period. We'll be getting started in about 2 minutes. So the title, thank you for joining live this evening. We'll be getting started shortly. Excuse my energy. Well, like it is what it is. You know, I don't want to apologize for being however I am in every moment, because we're always who we're supposed to be. We're always where we're supposed to be. The title of this Kingdom Things podcast live edition here on Twitch is Vital History. We have the notion, the ideology of, firstly here within the Kingdom Things podcast, my name is Nicole Phillips. Thank you again for joining me here within this transmission. I'm an energy healer, so I'm able to channel energies and messages to help with upliftment wherever you need in your reality, within yourself, wherever you need upliftment. Whenever you come across Kingdom Things podcast content, or really any of my content, again, my name is Nicole Phillips. I'm a singer-songwriter. My music, Nicole Music, you can find on YouTube. You come across my music, you know, it's to help assist with uplifting you in some way. You come across my literature, AP short stories. You can find my literature on Instagram, the links to find my literature on Instagram, as well as AP short stories on YouTube. I have an animated series that goes along with my literature, the Ossia story, which you can find in the Amazon bookstore. All of those links are within my AP short stories social media pages. So my music, my literature, I cook. I like to cook. I've been doing it since I was a child. And really, I intuitively cook. Like, I just, like, whatever comes to my mind, I'm guided to the kitchen. That's how I cook. I've been cooking like that since I was a kid. You know, there would be, like, just the odds and ends, like, odds and ends in the house, right? You know, just those staples, those things you just always have around. I would just intuitively go around the kitchen and just, like, use those things to cook and make food. I've been doing that since I was a kid. So that's what I do within my food channel. You can find my food channel, Magic Meals with Nicole Phillips, on YouTube. Here on Kingdom Things podcast, I channel energies and messages from the oneness of all things, or God. You know, the word God is permeated with so many energies because there are so many ideologies and thought patterns that we've conceived as human beings in regards to the word God, right? And human beings, or any being, we operate through a collective consciousness. So our thought patterns, our energy patterns, we share them. I like to give the analogy of iCloud, you know, storage. All of our thoughts and energies, it's a shared iCloud storage that we pull our thoughts and energies from. So the human being has cultivated many thoughts and energies around the word God, which create blockages within our being to accept God in its totality. There's thousands of years of ideologies constructed. There are many energies permeating our collective consciousness around the word God. which don't allow us to fully perceive and receive the wonderment that God is. As a collective, we are ascending, or we're expanding in conscious awareness of self. In our consciousness, our conscious awareness of self, we can liken it to our God essence, as we are all dimensions and figments of God, experiencing God. Everything is only a dimension and figment of God, experiencing God. Why do you say figment, Ashley? Because God creates God as God goes, right? So every thought that God had conceives turns into what we call a manifestation or reality. That's Zoe and Hazel in the background. Excuse them. They're doing their thing. That's fine. Go ahead and bark. Go ahead and bark, baby. It's fine. Everything that we conceive, every thought pattern that God conceives turns into reality or a manifestation. That's why I say figment, because everything is a figment. Or, my sister's here. Oh, wow. I was like, why are they barking so loud? Oh. Everything is a figment. I wasn't expecting that. That kind of scared me a little bit. I wasn't expecting that. Everything is a figment. I'm going to look up the definition of figment. Give me 1 second. Figment definition. Really going off the top today, which I do most of the time, but I was guided to be, allow myself to transcend to another dimension of Ashley. A lot of times what I did unconsciously, now I'm more consciously aware of it, is I showed up as like a caricature of myself. I played the part of myself. Only because I felt like playing myself was more acceptable than just being myself. And that's layers of self-acceptance that I'm growing into, that I'm aligning with. Figment. A thing that someone believes to be real, but that exists only in their imagination. Figment. A thing that someone believes to be real, but that exists only in their imagination. Figment. A thing that someone believes to be real, but that exists only in their imagination. I'm not going to lie. A part of me, energies in me tightened up when I read that definition. Why, Ashley? I was called delusional a lot of my life. Because I dreamt big. I thought big. So it's called delusional. Hey, I'm doing a live. Hey. Love you too. I was called delusional a lot of my life because I dreamt and thought big, right? What is reality, Ashley? What is a universal principle? All is the mind. All is the mind. This universal principle, Hermes Trismegistus, all is the mind, or mental, all is mental. We are entities of intellect, having a mental experience known as life. All is the mind, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermetic principle. It's also in the Kabbalion, it's also in, I'm going to talk about it, but I ain't finished reading it yet. It's also, I'm going to do that. It's also in Thoth the Atlantean's Emerald Tablets. All is the mind. I'm gonna finish reading the Emerald Tablets. We're always where we're supposed to be. We're always who we're supposed to be, right? So all is the mind. So God, every thought that God conceives turns into reality. And every macrocosm has a microcosm. Every microcosm has a macrocosm, which is another principle, universal principle. I think that's what is that? Principle of correspondence. Every microcosm has a macrocosm. Every macrocosm has a microcosm. So, and then causal body. Causal body is okay. Causal body is the cloud storage, but in spiritual terms, is known as a causal body, the cloud of energy that we share, the thoughts that we share, the thought patterns that we share. It's known as the causal body in spirituality, and the causal body is the thoughts and patterns that we share. The causal body is also God. The causal body is God. God is all things. The causal body is God. And when you perceive reality in this way, it kind of takes away from what you thought to be true. You know, we've had it it's in our Bible that God is Father, God is a man in the sky. God is a man, one man. One man. God is one man. And who does a human being, planet Earth, readily equate that one man to? Yeshua, or Jesus Christ. It always comes back to Big Bro. It always comes back to my Big Bro. I've channeled Jesus, Yeshua, a few times, and I've like, Jesus has helped me a lot. Jesus has helped me a lot to heal myself, to remember who I am, to remember love, to remember love, to remember love. And what is love? Actually, the wonderment of all things. The wonderment of all things. I'm going to look up the definition of wonderment. It's like we don't allow ourselves to wonder, or to ponder, or to, we have to know, right? Wonderment, a state of awed admiration or respect. We don't allow ourselves to experience wonderment. Because we're stuck. We were stuck in patterns of being ashamed of wonderment, or whimsy, or imagination, or thinking big. Because we have this thing, ideology, where get your head out of the clouds, grow up, be an adult. Or forget about God. All of the thought patterns that we receive, all of the energies that we receive, are God showing us and telling us who we are. Who God expects us to be. We're always where we're supposed to be. We're always who we're supposed to be. Who does God expect a human being on planet Earth to be, Ashley? Cohesion, a cohesive. Let's look up the definition of cohesive. Why, Ashley? The human being has curated levels of empathy, sympathy, compassion, unconditional love that was intended and needed in order to assist with allowing all of God to be in awe and in awe and in admiration and respect the wonderment of all of God. Not just third dimension, not just the fifth dimension, not just the ninth dimension, not just the 22nd dimension, but all of God. To be in awe and admire all of God. Cohesive. What are you saying, Ashley? We have this ideology that there's going to be a split between the third and fifth dimension. This ideology is asinine if we understand that the purpose of the human being from the jump, from the get-go, was to bring you unity. If in our ascension process we're starting a karmic pattern of separation, how do we bring unity? What do you mean, Ashley? Everything that we do, it starts a trend and a pattern. If you look back and reflect on your life, you can see trends and patterns. Why? Because that's how nature works. I've given this analogy many times with nature. Our universe on a macro level is created in fractals, and the fractals mirror each other. What do you do in a science experiment? You can't change 20 variables in one test because you don't know which variable did what. So what does God do? God creates this dimension of reality, or this parallel reality, as we like to call it, this timeline of reality, as we like to call it, where this is going on. And what's going on in this timeline of reality only varies by this one thing, this one variable from this timeline of reality. And this other timeline, this way, jumping this way, this third timeline this way, due east, this other timeline this way. That's really funny, jumping timelines in a spaceship. Like, we're going due east to this timeline. That's really funny. That's really funny. So you have this, that's really funny. So we have this timeline, right? And what does God do? We have this reality over here that's a fractal mirror to this reality over here. And this reality over here only changes by this variable so that God can learn and see, I changed this and this set off this chain of reactions. So if I do this, this is what's going to happen. In this third timeline, God changes another dimension, or a different dimension from the second timeline. So we're still using the base of the first timeline, but on this third timeline, God changes a different dimension or a different variable to see what happens. Everything is methodically planned out. And the methodology behind the creation of the human being of planet Earth was to unite God's creation. So if we're starting a chain reaction where we're splitting karma, we know what comes around goes around, where we would have to experience that split over and over and over again. What would that do, Ashley? That would just throw us back into the rigmarole of separation within God's creation that God is healing with the human being of planet Earth. The human being of planet Earth is to act as a cohesive mechanism, cohesive creation, nature, creation, cohesive creation throughout God's creation. Why do we, when we delve into quantum mechanics and quantum energies, and what's smaller than the quantum is the string theory? Why did we discover binary codes within the strings of energy? Because we perceive reality as we are, not as it is. We've become so entrenched with having to figure and know things, evading the awe of God's creation. We have to know things, which stems from our survival consciousness, which is all a part of the plan. We're taking that with us. Why, Ashley? Because everything happens for a reason. We still got to know how to survive out in this galaxy, because everything happens for a reason. We're still biology. In biology, our body needs certain things. And how do we know what our bodies need? Through our innate instinct. And where does the innate instinct stem from? Survival. There's nothing wrong with the innate instincts of survival, needing to survive. That's a part of our biology. It's fine. It's great. What makes it act up is what makes any part of us create tragedy or suffering in our reality. That's what I mean by act up. What makes us manifest tragedy and suffering in our reality, or act up in our reality, is the ideology that we don't need part of ourselves. When we say we don't need part of ourselves are going to show us just why we need that part of ourselves. So it's going to manifest in our things in our reality where we'll need to have on hand and equipped the thing that we said we don't need in our reality. So every part of us is necessary for our journey as human beings of planet Earth, within God's creation, within this galaxy, within the universe, within the multiverse. We're going to get to the multiverse like later. We'll delve deeper into those energies, into like lectures, which is really cool. I'm channeling this right now. We'll dive deeper into like understandings and energies and lectures regarding the multiverse down the line, but I'm being guided to focus on the galaxy. Everything that we do, every microcosm has a macrocosm. Everything that we do affects all of God's creation, but with being alert and getting excited and understanding our direct consequences of our actions within our galaxy. Consequence doesn't mean good or bad, just saying that the things that we do, the energies we cultivate, the things that we say, the actions that we take, how does what comes out of our mouth, our actions and our energies affect our galaxy? We are a galactic being. We dwell within a galactic creation in which we are not the only galactic being within a galactic creation. We are going to be ushered into understandings of this mass, because it's the understanding that we hold within our causal body as a human being of planet Earth. As it is understanding that the U.S. as well as Israel have close correlations and ties with the Galactic Federation. This is Googleable. This is Googleable. The Galactic Federation has close ties and dealings with U.S. government as well as Israel government. Why, Ashley? Being guided to take my time. Direct descendants. Israel, USA, direct descendants. What does that mean, Ashley? What are you understanding? Everything happens in cycles, right? So we have Israel and Abraham and Israel. Abraham's covenant with God in Israel, right? You have that covenant that Abraham had with God in Israel. You have the covenant that Abraham had with God in Israel. What is your understanding of covenants, Ashley? My understanding of covenants is that the beings, the individuals that create the covenants with God, you're challenged throughout your reality or your life. Whatever God tells you to do, that's what you do. Why? Because it shows a mastery. It shows a mastery of self. And if that being can follow God's footsteps and dance the most beautiful waltz as God leads, that shows the level of self-mastery. And when we show levels of self-mastery with God, God gives us more energies to create with, to cultivate our realities with, to cultivate the human being's causal body with. So it's not just that one person that has the covenant with God that gets to cultivate their reality, manifest their reality with. That energy goes to the human being's causal body or the human being's consciousness. I'm being guided to continue to say causal body. So Abraham had a covenant with God, and whatever step God told Abraham to take, Abraham took those steps. And as he did that, it upgraded him in his reality. And yes, there were times where he misstepped, but God knew what choice Abraham was going to make before he made it. Every time he made a choice, i.e. saying that Abraham's wife was his sister, not his wife, for personal gain, personal advantages. That story. God knew Abraham was going to do that before he did it. And it was all a part of God's plan. Saying that our history, the things that we created that we perceive to be bad, were all of God's plan, because we were cultivating skills and self-mastery and compassion and sympathy and empathy and unconditional love that we'll need as a human being of planet Earth, whose job it is to be a cohesive dimension being within God's creation. Cohesive meaning that we will be able to permeate our reality, our galaxy, the universe, the multiverse, all of God's creation with this energy of union, of unity, where we're able to glean, accept, acknowledge, and honor every part of ourselves, the good and bad, because we see how we need these skills to apply it in ourselves and within our reality, to master ourselves in our reality. And even if we call it bad, okay, now we know that's not what we want. Why is it not what we want? And we can take that lesson of why we don't want this and create a reality off of the energy of, whoa, I'm so grateful that I learned that lesson of why that's not a good thing to do. Or, whoa, I'm glad that I learned that lesson of why that was needed to show me what I had inside of me and what I can learn about myself, about what I had inside of me, what I carry inside of me, to grow and learn within myself and in my reality, and just see how everything works so beautifully. Like the mamba just moves so beautifully. And everything is connected so beautifully. The human being of planet Earth is created to be a cohesive creation being within God's creation. Cohesion, the action. We'll go back to cohesive. Let me read cohesive first. Characterized is I'm shaking because it's really cold in here. Whew. Cohesive, characterized by or causing cohesion. Cohesion, the act or fact of forming a united whole. The sticking together of part, united whole. That was really funny. Cohesion, the action or fact of forming a united whole. The sticking together of particles of the same substance. The human being of planet Earth was created to be a uniting force within God's creation, holding this energy of unconditional love, where we understand, we glean, and we learn from every dimension of ourselves, and we grow in that knowledge of self. No longer working through separation consciousness. Separation consciousness is pain. We shun parts of ourselves out of pain, and that's it. Because there was an experience we had in this life or a past life or a trillion years that way, in that, on that planet, in that one sub-universe over there where the planet blew up and we lost all of our family and friends, so we're sad as hell, and we come to this reality, and something that we experience in this reality, there's an energy that triggered that memory, that DNA memory, that soul memory. So now we reject that dimension that we experienced that energy with. Let's say I hate peaches. You know, I love peaches. But let's say I hate peaches. Why do you hate peaches, actually? Because the smell of them reminds me of something. I don't know what it is, but I just hate them. Because I have a DNA or soul remembrance of a tragic experience where that smell or that energy was, that is peaches, was involved. We deny parts of ourselves unconsciously and consciously out of pain and fear. It's all a part of the process. And how do you grow? How do you learn? If there aren't things about yourself that you don't know. And it's okay not to know. And it's understanding that we do not know. We don't know. And that's okay. Because it's not about knowing. It's about allowing your story to play out. It's not about knowing. It's about allowing your film to play out. It's not about knowing. It's about allowing your book to be read aloud for everyone to hear. The universe has great acoustics. The ethers have great acoustics. That's really funny. Okay. Yeah. So the human being of planet Earth is to act as a cohesive mechanism. Abraham, God was like, how far can you go? You know, follow my steps, and I tell you to take it, take it. The next person, who's the next person that had a covenant with God, Ashley? It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. Everyone has a covenant with God. Oh shit, that was off the top. That was a channel off the top. Everyone has a covenant with God, or a soul plan, or a soul print. Some people are just more intuitively inclined. We're all actually super intuitively inclined. It's just that we allow fear to detour us off of our past. of our highest reality or our highest timeline. When you follow your covenant with God or your soul or your intuition, you're following your highest the path to your highest reality or your highest timeline. Who is the next person in line, Ashley, that you know? So it's Abraham. Okay, this is the lineage of my ancestors. The lineage of my ancestors, right? Of our ancestors. This lineage of our ancestors. Lineage of our ancestors. So we have Abraham. Irregardless of what your religion is, irregardless of what you identify with culturally, like, we're all human beings, right? We all share this one causal body. So within our causal body, we got this lineage. We got Abraham. And there's people before Abraham. There's Thothi Atlantean. Who came first? Abraham or Thothi Atlantean? Abraham came first. So it's Abraham, Thothi Atlantean. Shit. Abraham, Thothi Atlantean. I'm sorry, I'm talking to my ancestors. Abraham, Thothi Atlantean. Yeshua. Moses came before Yeshua though, right? Or were they like, no. Okay. So it's Abraham, Thothi Atlantean. Moses, Jesus. And the new human being of planet Earth is the next in line. The new human being of planet Earth. The new human being of planet Earth is the human being activated into a conscious awareness, a causal body of planet Earth that aligns with the unity of all things, understanding that every dimension, a part of ourselves is vital. Our history is vital because it goes towards the makings of us. It goes towards our story, our film. How we gonna have a movie if we don't got our extras, if we don't got, we don't have the character, like in-depth character. When we leave parts of ourselves behind, we leave part of our character, part of who God created us to be. Whatever it is within a dimension of yourself, there's something for you to learn from that dimension of yourself. If you deny or say it's splitting, it's going to a different timeline, I'll never see it again. You're leaving knowledge behind. You're leaving wisdom behind. And knowledge and wisdom is power or the energy to co-create reality at higher potencies. Moses. I'm so sorry, y'all. I had to Google this real quick. Because, give me 1 second, y'all, because... So I just channeled Moses probably lived about 1,000 years before Jesus. That's what I thought. I thought it was Moses and then Yeshua. So we have Abraham, Thothi Atlantean, Moses, Yeshua, the new human being of planet Earth. And there's more in there. Like, I'm gonna give my shout out, honorable mentions to Francis of Assisi and Clara, his wife. My people, my ancestors. Who else? Goddamn. I'll be here all day shouting out a lot of folks. Tayana. There's another ascended master that I worked with before, and I channeled him as well. Apollonius of Tayana. Family. Apollonius of Tayana. That's it. Francis of Assisi, Clara. Apollonius of Tayana. Helena Blavatsky. Helena, she's more modern, She's a more modern figure that we have recorded in our books and, live beside her. Helena Blavatsky. I channel her as well. We'll be here all day. I could really shout my people out all day. I really could. My ancestors out all day. I really could, because they helped me remember who I am and get in alignment with my extrasensory perception and higher wisdom understanding of reality. I'm so grateful. Forever grateful. Forever grateful. Forever grateful. Forever grateful. Speaking of which, speaking of the ancestors. So we're going to go ahead and get into this next piece. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. about death. Death is so big for me because I hate endings. I don't, especially like, I don't like unhappy endings, and I don't like endings period, but I don't like unhappy endings, right? I even said it when I was a kid. Like, I had visions. I was like, my husband, like, I'm not saying bye to my husband. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not going to do that. So speaking of that, we're activated into the causal body of the human being, the new human being of planet Earth, or the Bible calls it the perfect human. God calls it the perfect human. God calls it the perfect human. God calls it the perfect human. The human of cohesion, the human of unity, the human of unconditional love, right? We're activating into a genome, a DNA efficiency where our bodies rejuvenate as they were always intended to, as many of our ancestors recorded biblically, and on cuneiform tablets, clay tablets, and other ancient texts. So like, dang, this is an ancestor that helped me out too. 9. I'm gonna get his name. Like, I'm gonna be better with names, I promise you. Methuselah. I saw it in my mind's eye. I was like, I saw M-E. I was like, it was kind of long word. I was like, I can't figure it out. I can't see it. Let me Google real quick. I saw it in my mind's eye. Methuselah. In the Hebrew Bible, patriarch whose lifespan, as recorded in Genesis, was 969 years old. And people were like, we're not even gonna talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's find out who we are. People are debating, like, was it a typo? Is it made up? No, our bodies were created to rejuvenate. And our ancestors, such as Methuselah in the Hebrew Bible, who was recorded to live to 969 years old, he only left because he wanted to. He was like, I think I'm done here. He was like, okay, I'll go ahead and leave now. Our bodies were created to rejuvenate. The perfect human being of planet Earth, which just energy, is now in the causal body. I'm channeling this energy. The energy of the perfect human with the higher DNA efficiency is now in the causal body of the human being of planet Earth. So we are all capable of ascending and transcending inside of ourselves, healing ourselves, looking at old wounds in order to raise our conscious awareness of self, to align with this energy where our bodies, our cells, our biology rejuvenates versus decay. Like, it knows how to heal itself, right? Follow our intuition, and we heal ourselves. So Methuselah lived to 969 years old. Why, Ashley? Because he didn't die because it was his body decayed. He died because it was time for him to leave. I watched a couple of movies lately where A Fault in Our Stars, and then a new movie on Netflix. And I'm going to finish watching it after I do this live. It's like the people, they had their memorial service. They knew they were dying. They had cancer. They knew they were dying because they had cancer. They had their memorial services before they died. Like the Fault in Our Stars, he had to practice just, to see it. And then the movie on Netflix is the guy's mom knew she was dying because she didn't want to do treatment. She knew she was dying, so she had a going away party. And when I was watching that, I got the download, I got the understanding. I've been grappling with this for a long time. Death, I gotta accept it. Endings, I have to accept endings, because there really is never any ending. It's just a transcending of realities. There's always endings of what was in order to experience new chapters, or what is transformation. We see it as endings. Okay, I don't like it. I gotta get in alignment with higher understanding and allow myself to meditate on that. But we always are where we are. We're always who we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be. So, like I said, when I was a kid, I was like, I'm not saying goodbye to my husband. Like, I can't do that. With being activated into a genome efficiency, as a human being of planet Earth, the causal body of the human being of planet Earth, we're able to tap into energies where we can heal ourselves to activate into a genome efficiency where we rejuvenate versus decay. So when we leave this planet, it's not going to be because an accident or you're sick, or it's going to be because you're transcending this reality, because you're going to go on to a new and face a new part and dimension of yourself, or a new part and dimension of God. So you'll be transcending this reality out of choice. So when we leave, we'll have going away parties and like, oh, they're transcending the reality. Oh, we'll have that in celebration and, you know, send people off to transcend and experience another part of God or God's creation. Methuselah, you know, lived a lengthy life because he chose to, right? And we all choose to live however long it is that we live. It's just our conscious awareness of our choice of length of life. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna really meditate on this because, like I don't like saying goodbye. I don't like saying goodbye. I don't like saying goodbye. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But it hurts. It hurts to say goodbye. It really does. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. I'm gonna go ahead and give this analogy. When we were all part of a bigger oneness of all things, right? When our individual soul print breaks away from the bigger, the one energy, that tear, that ripping away, it's an energetic alchemy that is extreme and intense. And we would translate that extreme and intense alchemy of our individual soul breaking away from God or the oneness of all things as feelings and sensations. And it's like sadness. It's an extreme sadness, a feeling of abandonment when we break away from God on our to journey our individual sojourns in reality. Reality is always about breaking away from one dimension of ourselves to grow into a new dimension of ourselves, only to find ourselves, magnetized into a greater dimension of ourselves. It's all about changing and evolving endlessly, which is great. You know, it's beautiful. We don't ever die. We just transform and change and evolve. It's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and close out this live. I want to thank you to whom are watching live, as well as anyone who will watch this Kingdom Things podcast at a later time. If anyone's asking a lot while I'm in the bed, I was guided to sit here so I can be more relaxed and chill and be more vulnerable versus sitting in a chair like I normally do and do a broadcast like I normally do a lecture like I normally do. Just like being relaxed and allowing myself to relax. Again, thank you whom are watching live, and to whom anyone who will find this energetic transmission, lecture, understandings, knowledge from the oneness of all things or my Akashic record at a later time and space. Again, my name is Nicole Phillips. My name is Nicole Phillips. I am a channel for the Most High Creator from the oneness of all things. I am the biblically prophesied Messiah. We all are, because God wants all of us to advance and know all of our power and end idolatry in the way that we used to see it, where we give our power away to others because we view people in this light of wonderment that we don't view ourselves in the same manner. That's idolatry. Like, you view this person as like, oh, holier than thou, the best thing in the world, but you only perceive the world as you are. So if you see that person as the best thing in the world, holier than thou, that's what you are. And you see them the way you see that's what you are. And you perceive others how you are. You're beautiful like that too. You're wonderful like that too. You're amazing like that too. You're powerful like that too. I am the biblically prophesied Messiah. We all are. Because what I have in me, you have in you. What you have in you, I have in me. Again, Kingdom Things Podcast. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Spotify, follow the channel to join the Kingdom Things Podcast journey to a healed and balanced human culture of planet Earth. What can I do, Ashley, besides following the channel to, join this journey and be a part of this evolution of the human being of planet Earth. Sit with yourself, dedicate at least 30 minutes a day to yourself consecutively, sitting with yourself in quiet, whether you're listening to music that relaxes your mind and heart and soul and body, whether you're journaling to get out your emotions, whether you're cooking, because that's a great meditative practice for yourself. Be with yourself for at least 30 minutes a day to cultivate a deeper and more intimate relationship with yourself in order to be able to garner soul tools to journey further into yourself. And the further you journey into yourself, the more you're able to experience and journey outside of yourself, or we like to call it manifest in your reality. I'm also a singer-songwriter. My music, Ashley Nicole Music, is available on YouTube. My literature, AP Short Stories on Instagram, AP Short Stories on TikTok, AP Short Stories on YouTube. Those are the channels where you can find all of my literature and the understandings of my literature and the links to purchase my literature. And then, which my literature is things channeled for my soul. It's soul knowing. It's actually soul knowings, channel for my soul. And there are things that my soul teaches me. Like I channel and write my literature, and I'm like, whoa, like this is kind of weird and wacky and different. And then I realized, and I come into greater alignment and conscious awareness of myself, and I realized that my soul was only trying to teach me about myself. So my literature, again, AP Short Stories on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, to follow my literature. The Story of Asia is a 2-part series. Coming on the story of Asia, followed by the story of Asia, I'm Home. A teenage girl growing up in the New York foster care system. She's catapulted onto her spiritual awakening journey by her twin flame. And she just goes through a lot of really, really bizarre things, right? And she finds out these really bizarre things are parts of who she is in a greater scale of reality. Again, that's coming on the story of Asia, followed by the story of Asia, I'm Home. My Other Half, which is the book that is first introduced in Asia's universe. So My Other Half is a book that's introduced in Asia's universe, or the Asia story series. It's an actual book. My Other Half is coming out October 2023. Next month, right now, but like whenever you see this, October 2023 is when My Other Half was officially introduced into this reality. It's about two souls journeying through many realities, timelines, dimensions, and they're supposed to co-create a life together, a love together. They will. Which reality, under what circumstance? Again, my food channel where I intuitively cook and move around the kitchen. Magic Meals with Ashley Nicole Phillips is available on YouTube. Follow Kingdom Things Podcast on all the socials, Instagram, not all of them, just Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. I love you. Love on yourself. Self-love is the best love because you have to love yourself in the way in which you want your reality to love you back. Self-love is the best love because self-love helps you uplift and heal yourself. Self-love is the best love because self-love aligns you with the love in your reality that you deserve. Again, my name is Ashley Nicole Phillips. Thank you again for watching live. Bye.